Welcome back to a new video, everyone. Today I thought I would give my thoughts on the UCS Star Destroyer that is retiring at the end of this year. I've bought one myself, but I thought I would maybe bring up some points that could be helpful if you're looking to buy it yourself, and what maybe to think about and have in consideration when making your purchase. In my opinion, the UCS Star Destroyer is a very good set. I really like the build. Even though the piece count may not be the highest of the newer UCS sets, I think that it makes up for it in the size of the parts. But those are just my thoughts, so let's get into the points I wanted to make, and I will start with the cons. The first con I would like to bring up is the potential of a re-release of this set. The most clear example of this is if we look back to the Death Star that retired, I think in 2015, I'm not sure. But the first Death Star retired, and only like a year after, they re-released basically the same set with like the same minifigures and the same build, and the first Death Star had been on shelves for I think like 8 years when that retired. So there was quite a lot of people who had stocked up on that set and like wanted to see if it was a viable investment, and then LEGO just re-released basically the same set, and therefore that investment was kind of ruined instantly. And that set basically resells for the same as the second Death Star now. The next maybe con I would like to bring up is the piece count question, as I brought up in intro. The piece count is quite small for a big UCS set compared to the Millennium Falcon and the AT-AT, and that is something to have in consideration when reselling UCS set. How appealing will that be when you're reselling it? I will come back to this point later on when I'm talking about the pros of this set as well. Another thing to have in consideration when buying this set is that the potential resale for this set will bring on extra costs for you as a seller. If you're offering to pay for shipment of products, it will cost a lot extra to ship this set, and you will have to have a big box to store it in to not get damaged during the freight. So you'll probably look to add on up to 50 euros in extra cost just to ship this LEGO set. And when you're calculating profit margins, that could be quite a big sum of money. So always have that in consideration with all the sets you buy, but especially these big ones. Another thing to have in mind when buying this set is that there is no prior data on these like UCS sets or Ultimate Collector Series sets. The sets that go into that category is the UCS Millennium Falcon, the UCS maybe Razor Crest, I'm not sure if I would count it, I think I will count it, the UCS AT-AT, and the UCS Star Destroyer. Those four sets come in these much bigger boxes, very elaborate box art, and have a very niche design to them. This is the first set to retire out of those four sets, and have that in mind when buying the set, that there is no prior data for these big sets, how they perform on the aftermarket. So keep this in mind when buying the set, because this can be things that can affect how this set performs in the long run. If we move on to pros of the UCS Star Destroyer, I would definitely bring up the fact that UCS sets, most of them at least, have a very good track record on the secondary market. If we look at the UCS Slave 1, for example, it retired only I think 6 years ago, and it already has almost a 400% return of investment. The same with the previous UCS Star Destroyer that retired back in 2002, which has almost a 750% return of investment. Or I don't think it retired in 2002, I think it released in 2002. But that's the previous UCS Star Destroyer. Even though that was such a long time ago, it wasn't the same type of set. It was a very high return of investment, and it's something to also have in mind when buying this set. And moving on to the point that I said I would come back to earlier, it's the piece count argument. Even though it is a smaller piece count, the pieces itself are a lot bigger, a lot of plate. It's one of the longer sets. I think it's probably the longest, if not the UCS Superstar Destroyer might be longer, I'm not sure, but it's one of the, if not the longest LEGO Star Wars sets ever released, and it accomplishes that with a piece count that is significantly smaller than the AT-AT and the Millennium Falcon. But as I said, the parts are a lot bigger, and therefore it justifies, in my opinion, the part count not being as big. And the whole no prior data argument could work in favor of the Star Destroyer, in my opinion, since it has made some people hold off from buying the set, and therefore the supply could be a bit smaller on the investment front. And if the supply is smaller, as you know, the price will probably go up. I wouldn't bank on that as my main argument when buying this set. That is just something to maybe have in mind, contrary to the no data argument that, yeah, there is no data, but that could also mean that some people didn't buy it, and therefore it could be less on the market a few years into the future. Another smaller argument to have in mind is that the minifigures of this set are completely unique to this set, and they already, as of this recording, 6th of November, the minifigures resell for almost between 50 to 60 euros each. They are unique to the set, and I don't think they will release them because they would have done so a long time ago. But these minifigures could prove to be quite a big driving factor in how this set performs on the aftermarket. But that is just something we have to wait and see. There's no telling how it will perform right now with these minifigures. It sold out almost 3 months before retirement on lego.com, which suggests that there is and could be a very high demand for this set on the secondary market. market in the coming years. Overall, I always think that if a set sells out a few months before retirement, that is a good sign that the set is popular and could always perform well on the aftermarket. This is not a like written in stone fact, but this is just something, a rule of thumb I usually use when I invest in my sets. So those are my thoughts about the set, the UCS Star Destroyer. Don't take this like written in stone facts. This is just my opinions about the set that I thought I would put out before, take into consideration before you buy the set yourself. I think the set is awesome, just from a like build perspective, but from investment wise, I think it will perform well. These are some things that you probably should keep in mind when buying the set, since this could affect both positively and negatively how the set performs on the aftermarket. But thank you all for watching. If you want more videos about me just rambling about sets, please like, subscribe, and comment your opinions on the sets down below. And I will see you all in the next video.